right, you white motherfuckers. All eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast.
Okay.
Oh. Oh. So, before we get up out of here, I got one more thing.
I got a couple things.
Did you see the exchange between Mark Lamont Hill and Flip?
Oh God. Oh.
I know it's just I didn't want to bring it up, but I wanted to have this conversation because for a lot of reasons. But did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen the most recent one. I've also seen the build up to it. Yep. I feel like Flip felt like he got a point to prove ever since Joe ran up on him um a few weeks ago. But also um you remember that question I asked about Mark Lamont Hill and when he joined, well, when I found out that he was a part of the Joe Buttons podcast. Let me see if I can find that question real quick. Hold on, because I want to know, do we feel still feel the same way? Oh goodness! But you go while I search.
So I've always felt for the past couple of months that you know, first Mark Lamont Hill was brought in, and then Mona was brought in, and I think she's official at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Mark Lamont Hill was brought in to challenge everybody else.
I so I felt like he was brought in to bring a more like serious level of commentary to the show because them niggas play a lot. Um, why can I not find my fucking question? I'm to be mad.
Don't do that. Don't hurt him, Hammer.
Oh God, I gotta find it. Munchie, you gonna have to hold on real quick. I got you. Can you hear him?
Barely.
Good. Oh, I cannot find it. Why when you need shit, it's like nowhere to be found. Uh-oh. Was it when I was talking about the Pan African Panhandler?
Oh, probably.
I can't find it right now, but I want to say it was like something to the nature of like, is Mark Lamont Hill too smart, or is he like a supervillain to intellectual idiots? Because
I do now that I do let
right,
you
like
think that.
they're not stupid. You know what I mean? Like they're very well aware of a lot of things, and like I know I don't have the most expansive vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that I'm an idiot either, right? Sometimes it's very hard being the smartest person in the room. or at least when you think you're the smartest person in the room.
Damn near frustrated. I didn't even
Um,
leave early.
Flip do too much. He's always done too much to me.
Yes.
So one, I think this was a build. Like this has been brewing for a while. And I believe he's been there for almost a year now. Just about. Go ahead. Don't just stand there. I gotta close my door. Thank you.
She's not talking to me, yo.
No, I'm talking to my cat. But you also, not a lot of people are emotionally intelligent to handle certain types of conversations. But the flip side to it is Mark Lamont Hill be taking shots, yo. Like, and he
It'd be
be
so funny,
thinking,
yo.
he be thinking because he's so smart, that niggas don't be catching on to them shots. So, like, he, yo, he be doing too much sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them, like, I understood the reason why Flip reacted the way that he reacted is kind of like the way not Ish, but the other light skinned dude reacted when he told him to read. It was sad. That's what's going to with you said I could tell because of the way you read that. Like you know, you know what you be doing. You know what you be doing. So I can't necessarily say that Flip was wrong for how he reacted, but Flip is also very problematic. So I feel like he met his match, honestly. I mean that he did that.
Yo, when he told Flip, they're not tricky words. I'm saying regular words that are tricky for you. When I tell you, I turned my chair around and faced the wall because I'm like, this is
Oh
it.
God.
This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. And there is nothing, and I'm not like in
That's what I'm
support
talking
of
about.
Flip's response and
And
saying, you know, you do sucker shit. Because Philly dudes don't like being. There was
he
a
definitely
comprehension
was
problem with that.
playing that man
But
out of position.
clearly, when Mark Lamont Hill told you that, that hit a nerve. But there's so much material there, Flip, because I have not been locked into Joe Budden's podcast ever, but from what I've seen, you just like you started a whole lot to get through two words already. So I mean,
You know how you and
but Mark Lamont,
you know how like in order for your platform to spread, you gotta speak everybody language. Flip is there for a reason.
straight out the barbershop, straight
He's
out
there
the
for a
bus
reason.
stop.
The same way that like Melissa Ford was there for a reason. But then when you start to realize that the majority of your audience no longer correlates with bird behavior or bird mentality, and that don't matter whether it's a female or a nigga, like you gotta kind of switch things around a little bit. So it's like we been seeing the shit with Melissa Ford coming or whatever. You know, she's out now, and Mona is in. And I think Mona is a good. She time enough for them niggas. she don't like Flip either. And I think Flip also has this like complex of, because he's been around for so long, how dare you new niggas come in here and talk to me like that?
There's one at every job.
But you be setting yourself up for that. You can't expect for everybody to want to dumb themselves down for you. And there's nothing wrong with it, honestly. But I
Make
just,
yourself an easy mark with that mentality.
but I mean, I just y'all definitely like some of the most intellectual niggas I know. If Mark Lamont Hill would have said that shit to them, they probably would have ran in his mouth. I'm just saying, he wasn't necessarily wrong in his reaction, but Mark Lamont Hill wasn't wrong in what he said because it was true. Nigga, you don't know words.
It's the way he said it. It kept going.
Like, it,
And it. I played it over and over again. I was just like,
say, come on, you wanna go talk outside?
oh, oh.
And Joe is such a catty, sissy ass nigga. He'll be living for
His
that shit.
instigating ass.
He lives for it.
His
I
instig-
promise you. He lived for that shit.
But I've never seen Mark Lamont Hill that fucking mad before. But I get it.
Yo, stupid people will piss you off like that though. It's real hard when you feel like you are the smartest person in the room. You just there's like the sense of disappointment that comes over you because you be like, yo, y'all my people, y'all should know more. You should be more aware of what the fuck is going on. Especially when you have a platform like that. But the flip side to it is that you cannot expect for everybody to want to be aware. Being aware is heavy as fuck. Some people just like to be light on their feet, even if they weight don't match it. I'm just saying.
And there you have it. It's just, I feel like Mark Lamont Hill has a black belt on the low, and I definitely know Flip does not drink water. So I feel like if it ever got to the point that we were placing bets
Why
to
would
take
you
down who,
say that?
my money would be on Mark Lamont Hill.
Oh god. Mm-mm.
We already know Battle of Wits Flip remains unarmed. You know, it's just that's
You never know. A lot of people think just because people smart, they don't know how to fight. So
what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Boy, but I ain't never seen Mark Lamont Hill that mad before. I get it. Don't don't call me a sucker because you losing an argument.
I think it's
He,
sucker shit that struggle with words like that. You know, there isn't an expectation for you to know everything, right?
oh, absolutely not.
And you don't even have to make it known that you don't know the definition of a word. Google is like a love and hate dynamic. But you got so many other resources like Wikipedia, the dictionary.
Uh,
The dictionary is a wonderful fucking tool. And they have an app now. Even when you type it in Google, right? You don't even gotta go search for that
oh
shit.
my
That shit give
god.
you a big ass definition right there at the
Oh
top
my
of the
god.
page.
Oh my god.
So just imagine if like you listen to what the person is saying, right? You might come across a word that you might not understand. Let them go ahead and keep talking and Google that shit. And then use it in a sentence. And then continue with the conversation. It's not hard. Or simply just be like, what the fuck did that mean? The smartest thing to do is ask the question. Not sit there and act like you know when you know damn well you don't know and just be talking. Cause then you sound dumb. And then you be expecting for me to continue to engage in an
Uh,
intelligent conversation while you being
uh,
stupid. No, you can't do that.
Me personally, once it gets to that point, I just smile and nod like a Mexican. I don't
Smile
hear
and
a
wave,
goddamn
boys.
thing you said.
Smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave.
At some point, I might say, "Damn, that's crazy." Oh, for
Listen,
oh, word,
you
and cycle through the three just because.
you know I do mobile gaming, right?
Oh yes,
And I have been playing one game for almost 4 years now. Same group of people. I have like 50, 60 years people that I have an alliance with, right? And with the game come a lot of politics and shit like there's a war game. When you start to interact with like people out there in the world when it comes to just words, basic fucking words. And you understand that now we are in an age where people be like, fuck the dictionary. I'm going to make the word mean what I want it to mean. You end up coming across conversations with a lot of idiots who think that they know what they're talking about when they don't.
right.
And Flip, I'm not saying that you stupid, right? Or that you can't comprehend. I just think that sometimes if you acknowledge the fact that you're not privy to certain knowledge or words, it's better to just humble yourself instead of like acting like you do and then get upset when somebody recognizes that you really don't know what you're talking about. You did that to yourself. You knew you didn't know what you was talking about when you opened your mouth and started talking. Words really are not that tricky because there's a whole book dedicated to them. It tell you what type of word it is. It tell you the different ways you can use the word. It even tells you how to pronounce it. And then give you a whole definition. And depending on how well you know how to ask the question, might even give you like a sentence on how to use it. Right there in the palm of your hand. You ain't got to carry it around the big book no more.
Mm.
Niggas be getting on platforms and get older and forgot how to do shit. The fuck? It's words. They add new words to that book every fucking year.
Right.
I'm just saying. It's no way for you to know all of them.
But at the minimum, know at least five a day.
That might be a little too hard for people.
Ooh. Oh,
People got a hard time understanding what fascism is these days. It's sitting right in front of their fucking face, and they still don't know what it means. I'm just saying. I think that we give the American education system a little bit more credit than what it should because I believe we talked about this last week when we talked about Bad Bunny.
what we got less than 4 months to Learn Spanish, no Spanish.
Yeah, but it be the people that be like,
And
if
he,
you don't like America so much, go back to Puerto Rico.
motherfucker,
Or
Puerto Rico is part of the United States.
or your president saying, I talked to the president of Puerto Rico.
If I,
You see what I'm saying? Words, though. Like it, it all leads back to words. Like,
I'm sorry.
the existence of words is fighting for their dead fucking life, man.
Oh, and we've had,
Is
and how long we had maps like world maps? Don't it say on like the Rand McNally map,
let me tell you
Puerto
something.
Rico
Maps,
territory,
you wanna know how old maps
a
are?
province of the
Maps were old enough to depict the Sahara Desert with fucking forest. That's how old maps are.
um
Words.
I
Words.
assume
Just words. It's
mm,
words. It don't. It don't be that it don't be that complicated.
we are such an unserious country to where y'all are so racist. Y'all went and started a petition allegedly to have Bad Bunny replaced with George Strait. Fucking white people.
Who is who? With who? George who?
George Strait.
Who is that?
Exactly. Not Shania Twain, not Faith Hill, not Tim McGraw,
Not even Reba McEntire?
not
Who
even
the
Regan,
fuck?
not
Who
even
is
Dolly
that?
Parton, but George Strait.
Who is that?
Not even Kenny Chesney, the Zach Brown Band, the Dixie Chicks. Not even Jelly Roll.
It's too soon
George
for Jolly
motherfucking
Roll.
Strait.
Okay.
That's why the aliens stopped coming to this planet because y'all are dumb. Um, but listen, I'm still holding on the to the idea that Bad Bunny, you better be shaking that ass in my TV all up and down that halftime stage. I'm just saying.
I don't know who this man is.
But the president of Puerto Rico, I am screaming.
Let me tell you
It's got
something.
to be led. It's got to be led.
No, let me tell you something. No, it just has to be senile. Because if Biden would have said some shit like that, right? If Biden would have said some shit like that, they'd have been the door. Resign now, old senile Joe. Why can he say stuff like that? And he's a sane, sound mind? Did he talk to himself? Like, did he put up the phone to one ear and then put up the phone to the other ear and then talk to himself? Was it in front of a mirror? Pre recorded? How? I'm almost tempted to ask him, how did the conversation go? What was the topics of discussion? I'm just, curious. That's all. Just a little bit.
You have been frying me the last 20 minutes of my life. And she swear each episode it's me at the end of the episode, but no, she got the Burger King crown for this episode because the giggling that's been coming out of my face.
Hey,
Um,
words.
right. A whole
So,
Merriam-Webster dictionary has been available at all the bookstores, all the
mhm,
libraries. Yet
yeah.
we have people like Flip that exist. Um,
Oh, or people. Oh. Or people like Van Jones. Right.
my Uber's outside.
Oh no,
Please do
nope.
not open that can of worms
Oh,
because
we're opening. We are opening this can of worms. Yes, we are. Yes. Oh, yes, we are. You, you just. Ugh.
What he do?
So, you know, my first issue with him, um, just in general, he never gave this is the person that I should be getting my information from.
Never, ever.
Like never.
What's be?
And where is it that I wrote about you, you freaky little nigga?
Uh,
Damn, I did a lot of writing and didn't realize it. Oh, there we go. Van Jones. All right, so we all know who Van Jones is, right? Don't know. He was a commentator that was on CNN and he was an advisor to Obama, blah, 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 right? Every once in a while, he still, makes little appearances and stuff like that, but he's like into politics. Black guy wears glasses. Some people suspected that he was having an affair with Kim Kardashian at one point in time, allegedly. Um, just to give a little context. But recently, he he got in a little trouble, right? He appeared on Real Time with Bill Maher. And whatever the topic of discussion was on the panel that he was sitting, um he pretty much made claims that Iran and Qatar are funding TikTok and Instagram with a using a disinformation campaign um by using repetitive footage from what's going on in Gaza, right? So he claims that they are doing this to manipulate young Americans into caring about the conflict. Um, and then basically like described it as dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, Diddy, dead Gaza baby. And they all laughed about this. And so a lot of us who, are actually humane is trying to understand what the fuck is the joke. Why would you believe or try to push the narrative that Iran and Qatar are trying to flood social media with alleged propaganda, but it's not propaganda because that's what's happening. These aren't like decoys. This isn't AI. This is what's happening in real life and at real time. So to minimalize it as just simply dead Gaza baby is not only ignorant and but it's also insulting. Um, but it started to draw attention because people started to notice that gradually, especially this year, the narrative of how he speaks about this genocide has changed. So just in June, well, let me go back a little bit. In November 2023, he was at a rally where like he condemned anti-Semitism, like began praising Jewish support for like civil rights, but also called for a ceasefire for the conflict between Israel and Gaza. Then in June of this year, um, APAC posted a video from a podcast where he said something to the nature of when October 7th happened, he felt personally attacked. And called Palestinian people um Nazis. So then the appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher happened. That was October 4th. So of course, naturally, like they always do, um, when people start to come in and call you out on your bullshit, you turn off your comments and you hide for a little bit, right? Until you put out this PR written or chat GBT written apology as if you really give a fuck, right? But then, but then this is where like it got even more interesting. Then that they discovered that he has not only been following IDF military propaganda um, social media pages, but he also has a strong liking to um, female IDF soldier thirst traps, specifically. What was the name of it? Let me make sure I got the name right. Hot IDF Army girls, and I quote. So then the second apology comes, right? And of course, at this point, you begin to call a spade a spade. If it walk like a duck, if it quack like a duck, it's a fucking duck, right? And then I came across this video, short little video on Al Jazeera, and had to do a little bit of digging because on October 8th, he was exposed for being officially listed as a part of this couple. Their name is Jackie and Jeff Karsh. It's called the Karsh Journalism Fellowship. It was launched this year, and the purpose of this program aims to train journalists to cover Jewish issues with quote unquote depth, rigor, and clarity. The program positions itself as the world's only journalism fellowship solely dedicated to Jewish topics. It's boasting about 16 mentors, one being Jones, which is listed on their website as a leading journalist representing a wide range of platforms and perspectives. They do consultation and program design, um, lead sessions, provide feedback, and aid in recruitment. Now, while he has tried to say that this is not true from the last time that I looked, um, he's still listed as a mentor for this fellowship. And then he came back and said, "Oh, well, I only did a 1 hour seminar one time and it was for free." That's his justification. But ultimately, um, people who have dug a little deeper into this fellowship acknowledges that it's pretty much a pro-Israel propaganda fellowship with them bringing in multiple journalists, Van Jones being one of them, as mentors and training them with information to push out in the media. And it's if you kind of like even look at CNN, right? The way that things are being reported is starting to shift when it comes down to what's going on. Like, so he kind of like aired himself out, actually. Um, yeah, words be kicking people ass to just minimalize that situation as just dead Gaza baby. You probably would have kept your tomfoolery hidden a little bit longer.
The tomfoolery.
I'm just saying, people, when you had, again, we all, understand that America is not is not built for us, right? We tend to just be able to find our place in it, and some people better positions than others, right? You are on a platform that people come to you for information and maybe opinions from time to time. And that's understandable when it comes down to your opinion. But when it comes down to information, um, sometimes it's just best to be unbiased and just report the news for what it is. Because people are starting to understand that there's this narrative that's been pushed, and there's this minimalization of what's really happening, and people are starting to like understand something that we kind of knew for a long time is like, you know, the Jews like run the media. They run the media. And so I don't know why anybody really is surprised about him, but apparently a lot of people are. And he just exposed himself. He
I
just
always got a weirdo vibe from him.
honestly, in this day and age, you just really start to realize that while they may seem to be a certain way, um, a lot of people live life in the public under a facade and will gravitate towards whatever is most safe and financially beneficial. A lot of people not really willing to put their neck on the line to be 100% transparent in what has actually been going on. Instead, they will minimalize it and then heighten up the other shit. You should be ashamed of yourself. Real simple. You just should be ashamed of yourself. This shit is sickening. And be ready because TikTok about to piss y'all off next.
They gonna piss us off, girl.
So, you've ever seen 1984, right? Is it 1984? Yeah, I think it's called 1984.
That war movie?
No, Big Brother is always watching.
Oh yeah, you was telling us about that.
Telling you about that, right? All right. So, um, ICE. The people, that's covering their covering their faces and running down on people with the hopes of not being discovered and separating people from their families illegally and violently. They have been seeking partnership with private companies to enhance surveillance capabilities, with the intent of having round the clock monitoring of social media and open web source like platforms. Um, the initiative intends to identify and track people through analyzing posts, photos, messages, online activity, you name it, they want to watch it. And that's on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit. The operations would take place in two target centers. One is going to be located in Williston, Vermont, and the second one in Santa Fe, California. Oh no, Santa Ana, California. Um, Basically, they have plans to hire 30 private contractors. What the fuck? Wait a minute. Okay. 30 private contractors to staff a 24/7 surveillance team to convert raw online data into actionable intelligence for raids, deportations, and arrest. Vendors are required to incorporate AI tools to assist in speeding up targeting and case development, such as identifying aliases, tracking movements, detecting behavioral patterns, and under a multi-year contract plans to modernize enforcement to compensate for their like limited, I'm going to say, abilities, because we know pretty much like right now anybody anybody can go and sign up to be a part of ICE at any given time. And all you got to do is, throw a mask on and never mind. I'm not even gonna go there.
Mm,
So, um, are you interested in knowing what like surveillance tools are already in place?
yes.
Hmm. Okay, let's go. So, as far as government and law enforcement, the Department of Homeland Security database, like automated biometric identification system, is called IDET, and the Enforcement Integrated Database to retrieve and store biometric data in immigration records, customs and border protection, and U.S. citizenship, immigration sources to access travel records, visa applications. Border crossing information, the DMV and state records to access driver license data, vehicle registrations, criminal records, um, the FBI, and the National Crime Information Center for criminal history and warrants, and like all of the jails and prisons to receive real time notifications for when non citizens get booked and when they get released. For commercial data brokers and private contractors, there is a company called Planter Technologies. They have a $30 million contract for tools like one is called Gotham and immigration. It what is it? Immigration OS. I'm sorry, integrated data for social media, cell phone records, tax filings, and location history. Their platform enables ICE to create detailed profiles of targets, tracking movements, and identifying associates with the ability to pull location data, social media connections, utility records, like all with the intent to locate people in real time. LexisNexis. That sounds familiar. Well, LexisNexis has been around for a while. Uh, Over 11,000 ICE agents use it's called Accruent for automated vetting and screening, having access to billions of records, including addresses, phone numbers, again, social media activity, and your financial data. They have tools to also help let ICE locate people by cross-referencing public and commercial data, and a lot of it is like done without commercial oversight. I mean, like judicial oversight. So they these companies allow them to have access to information without them having to go to the courts to subpoena it or like get a warrant for it. I don't know how they work around that shit, but that gives them the ability to do it. Data brokers, they purchase bulk data information from hackers and brokers like Clearview, AI, Ventel, Babel Street. I'm pretty sure a lot of these things people don't know anything about, or these companies don't feel sound familiar. But the reason why I'm putting them out there is because do the research on them. Like, look them up and find out exactly what it is that they do and how they do it, and then you'll be able to tell how ICE and the government is able to keep an eye on your shit, and how they just so happen to be able to run up on a motherfucker that's parked at a red light next to a bus stop and be able to pull them out their car and arrest them. It's not a happenstance. It's not coincidence. But these app-based geolocation trails, from mobile apps for real-time movement, Babel Street tools locate X analyze posts, hashtags, user connections, like across all social media platforms. Clearview is an AI database using scrapped images to support facial recognition. So rather it be something that you like post, and you might so have like let's just say, for example, you are in a like festival, right? And somebody takes a picture. You're not in like you're in the picture, but you're not in the picture. They're able to take these photos where it's just people. You know how like people like, I can use my camera, this a public place, this, that, and the third. Well, they're taking all of that shit and they're putting it in a database. So if they happen to need to try to find you, they can use AI tools to be able to find you through facial recognition now. Like when you don't believe that you're being watched, you're being watched. A lot of these applications that we use also kind of like help aid in that shit. It's and it's a it puts you in a rock and between a rock and a hard place, right? Because we live in an age now, especially with things like this going on, but even like before then, people with kids and stuff like that, they all have cell phones. A lot of them have um location apps and stuff like that on their children's phone. A lot of them don't work unless both or all the phones have the location on, and it has to be on the entire time in order for it to be able to sync the way that it's supposed to. So now you have these companies that are able to access this data to be able to track your movements. And we also know, unless and even if you do turn it off, don't believe the hype when they be like, oh, if you uncheck this in your Google settings, then it'll stop that. It's a lie. It doesn't. It does not. I guarantee you, if you was to keep your location on and you went to go try to turn off that little setting inside of Google's for it's not supposed to track you, I would guarantee you, if you went back and look at your history, it will be able to tell you every fucking place you went. So, just like other companies, AT&T, Lee Harris, FedEx, like AI and advanced analytics, physical and electronic surveillance, legal policy limitation, and like resistance. It's a lot. It's a lot. But one one thing that has stuck out in a lot of this is, you do know that China has to turn over TikTok by December.
Really?
Yeah, so you remember the whole thing, the end of last year, going into the new year, and how everybody was like, oh my God, the end of TikTok was getting ready to happen from whatever agenda it was that Biden had pushed through initially. And then Trump like kind of came in and wanted to be the savior and was like, oh no, we're gonna go ahead and save it. We're just gonna try to work out a plan and blah 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 bullshit. Well, they did, right? They did. Oracle. Oracle is going to own 50%. of TikTok. China has agreed to it. The US has agreed to it. The other investors have agreed to it. They just have to do their little finalizing touches and stuff like that. So that is the reason why the full transition has not, like, it hasn't started yet. It'll happen in December. Um so a little history. 2024, a bipartisan law required ByteDance, which is China's TikTok owners, to divert operations to the United States. Remember, they went into the whole China's going to steal your information and they're going to spy on us and blah 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 bullshit, right? Um, a framework deal was finalized in September, with Oracle becoming the lead investor and overseer of critical tech components. So the ownership structure is Oracle with the majority ownership at 50%. A private equity firm called Silver Lake, uh, Max Investment Fund that is based in Abu Dhabi, um, Andreessen Horowitz, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but he's from venture capital firm. And then like existing investors that's from ByteDance, the China company, they'll own 20% of this structure, like this ownership structure, with broken down between General Atlantic, Susquehanna, and Sequoia with like 30% total. And then Larry Ellison, who is the Oracle co-founder, Rupert Murdoch, and Michael Dell from the Dell Computer people. September 25th, Cheeto. We all know who Cheeto is. I do not have to say who we talking about, but Chester Cheetah signed an executive order approving the deal to be enforced December 16, 2025, waiting for final approval from China. Their specific role, Oracle's specific role, will be data security, storing and managing all user data through a cloud infrastructure, algorithm oversight with a copy of code that will be reviewed and retained in US only. So the data can be like continuously monitored. And guardian of both privacy and moderation. So the reason why I brought this up, right? We just talked about the whole Van Jones situation and the other shit that I just talked about. The Big Brother is always watching. Now ICE is trying to, use companies and stuff like that. Oracle also, um, the chief tech officer, Terry Ellis, the person that I just mentioned, is a major financial backer of the IDF and has described Israel as a beacon of democracy with personal ties to Netanyahu. Oracle's CEO is Israeli born, served in the IDF, and also stated that Oracle's, quote, mission is to support the state of Israel, end quote, and suggest that employees who disagree with their belief, pretty much you shouldn't work there. They're like drawing a line clearly, like where they stand at in this situation. Um, so you'll ultimately have this American born fellowship, what they call it, with the intent to push um, Israeli propaganda. Then you have ICE, who is using all of the technology that we pretty much have our hands on right now as a means to track things. Then remember what I said when Van Jones was on Bill Maher and he was talking about like the TikTok shit? Now you have Oracle, who also works hand in hand with the IDF and Israel's government, taking over TikTok. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. And I don't think people understand that there's different type of warfare. Warfare doesn't always necessarily mean bombs and buildings being destroyed. Um, I don't go on TikTok that much anyway, but personally, for me, I would say get the best out of TikTok of what you can, but come December, be very, very careful. Be very careful and pay attention to any changes in your algorithm because that'll be very telling.
I would have never thought in my day. By the way, that's like the number one old head comment. Um, that I would see a reality where apps are open to be seized and taken over. That just like EA was bought up with
But right.
it was that apps and game providers and entertainment sources are being bought up and not
Mm-hmm.
a coincidence to further control and power and incite fear in folks.
How do you want better as far as, especially with China still having partial ownership? It doesn't matter whether it was 5% or 60%. They still have some control in this 20%, right? When you break it down, it's like 20% goes to like the original company, then it's broken down in other, little subsections or whatever to give them 30% in total. So that's 80% already covered, right? China has a situation going on right now where a Asian actor passed away under suspicious circumstances. Um, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole because it's a lot. I don't think we have that much time. But I bring it up because in the midst of the controversy that's going on with this actor's death, it's also been tied to China's communist party. Okay. And they have been like diligently trying to delete like old videos or like social media posts, even like going up to the extreme of like removing his name from off of some of the projects that he worked on. But then they said that anybody who had any pictures of him or any information related to him in their phones, the government deleted that shit. So they have technology in place that allows them to be able to remote access your device and pretty much I'm assuming if you can remove it, then you could probably also put whatever you wanted on it also. And the, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence.
Not at all.
So then, of course, what you know in these things, then you probably trying to figure out like, all right, well, what is put in place to protect us? What what can we do to fight back? Like, don't we have the Supreme Court? Don't we have the Democrats? Don't we have this? Don't we have that? We absolutely do, right? But now you're in a place where political violence is becoming a thing. right? Outside of old boy that got his neck blown out a couple weeks ago, you also have, the other two Democratic, um I don't know if they were senators or what, but I just know they were Democrats. The one lady that her and her husband got killed at their home.
Right.
Like that happened. So on October 4th, Stephen Miller, you know who Stephen Miller is, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, for those who don't know, he's the deputy chief of staff for the White House. He had made a post on Twitter criticizing, of course, as they always label anybody that's to get them the far left, Democratic judges, prosecutors, and attorney generals, um, for allegedly shielding terrorism and terror networks, calling for legitimate state power to dismantle them. Like, it's like anybody that goes against what they want, that somebody should go after them. And ironically, this very same day, Judge Diane Goodstein, South Carolina, went to go walk her two dogs, and her beachfront home went the fuck up in flames.
Right.
Cool. Completely gone. The whole entire house engulfed. 3 members in the house, including her husband, they were hospitalized, but like no, like real severe and injuries. Thank goodness for that. Um, but interesting enough, investigations is claiming there's no evidence to indicate that the fire was intentionally set. So, of course, they ruled out arson. But prior to this happening, Judge Goodstein issued a temporary restraining order, basically holding Cheeto Man's administration in contempt and denying their access because they was attempting to seize personal data from millions of South Carolina voters for federal election integrity probe. She said no. Plain and simple. She said no. Both sources to the judge reported that she had been receiving death threats. And there was like a heightened concern of political backlash and violence considering what's been going on. And then boom, her house go up in flames.
Right. I saw that. That shit was crazy.
Yeah. And so some congressmen and other critics have accused Stephen Miller of doxing and threatening judges. Um, like basically, like this is what MAGA is doing. This is the type of dangerous environment we're in now. Because even if it wasn't arson, right? I will play devil advocate and let's just say it wasn't. There's always going to be something in the back of that woman's mind, in the back of her family's mind, or anybody that may work for her, that know her, that is going to wonder whether or not it was intentional because of her going against him. What is the irony of your your chief of staff making a statement like that on Twitter, and then you went to go walk your dogs and your whole shit went up in flames? out of out of nowhere. But that's what they want you to believe. I'm not real big on conspiracy theories, but sometimes some shit just raises eyebrows. We are living in some very, very interesting times politically, socially. The world is just all over the place. There's too much going on. It's too heavy. And even when you think things are supposed to be good, you find out, nope, that's fucked up too.
It's almost like this shit has gotten competitive. Like we see what just happened, so we just going to do some suspicious shit on a greater scale.
And I mean, even if it wasn't a situation of you directly having your hands in it, like you had no hands in setting it up or how or what how whatever happened, you still put out a rhetoric of violence because that's how your people are going to react. You know this. You knew this ever since January 6th. When they proved to him that if I say it, they will do it. If you feel like it's coming from me, then you will act on it. Words, it all reverts back to words. Because even with him not saying specifically go burn a house down, people see that shit and either they insert their own words to make a cohesive statement that they can understand, or they change the definition of shit in order to cater to whatever they want it to mean. And then they act on it. And MAGA and that administration thrives off of idiots that don't know words. That's the reason why he talks like I don't even know how to describe it. It drives me fucking crazy. His vocabulary is shit. And I don't even really think that it's because he's incapable, because he clearly understands a lot more than a lot of us think that he does. Because if he didn't, he wouldn't be able to pull the shit off that he's been pulling off. What it is that he's banking on you taking in the most basic ass message. And because I know that that's how you think, that's what you'll do. And then he'll sit back and he'll be like, I never told them to do that. It's like that when Mona did that video when she had the little mustache on and she was talking about, so why you being weird to me? You said you want to marry me. And she like, when I say that, like, remember when you had your arm around my neck, hair on front of, you whispered that shit in my ear? You said you wanted to marry me. It's the same type of concept. If I give you and I say the things that I know that correlates with what you feel and how you believe America should be ran in the most basic way basic way possible. The complexity of what I need to be done will happen. And he knows that he cannot get through this without violence. He knows it. He knows he cannot get through this without violence. So
Spooky shit.
protect your shit. That's the only thing I can tell you is protect it the best way you know how to. Or, in all honesty, don't be scared. There's power in numbers, right? And so when you continue to speak on these things and you refuse to cower behind it or allow them to silence your voice, they can't escape it. They can't. They'll try. They'll try to get through whatever it is that they can. But as long as you keep putting that pressure, eventually it has to be stopped in its tracks. But he also realizes that a lot of Americans look at shit like, oh, this is not my fight. This don't got nothing to do with me. I'm not my ancestors. I got worried about myself. And that shit all sounds good until they pop up at your apartment building
Oh shit.
and they walk your neighbor's kids that you've been babysitting out naked, zip tied. Or when they dropping from off of ropes onto the roof of your house and kicking your window in. Just saying. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Don't matter what side it's on.
This truly feels like a helpless situation.
A what?
A helpless situation.
It does. It does. It does.
And people will continue to still use TikTok.
Of course.
Not
Of course they will.
you are actually giving them intel, and the result will be more surprise tackles and takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just saw one of the lady in the school pickup line getting snatched out of her vehicle and tackled to the ground and arrested.
Insane.
They fucked around and did that to a person that's a U.S. citizen.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's under the guise of, oh, we're only going after illegal immigrants. But you're not. Some of them, yes, but not all of them. You're not even doing it through a legal due process. Hence the reason why they tell them to cover their faces.
Why does Cap a lot of the shit that's come out of that man's face is not legal?
Exactly. But
That's a
again,
thing.
this is where the problem comes into play, right? You've never had a situation where a president, a sitting president, blatantly disregarded what the Supreme Court told him to do or what he couldn't do. This man would be like, all right, we're going to go do this. And then by the time the Supreme Court even gets to a point where they be like, no, no, that's not legal. You can't do it. The damage is already done. The way that this man is going, he's like, listen, I am bigger than this program. And people keep believing it's America. It can't happen here. Shit, me. It can happen anywhere. Especially when you realize that as long as America has been America, it has been developed and conditioned under lies. All of it propaganda. You know how they say you learn everything in school, right? And then you get out there and you get into the real world and then you realize what it's really like. Just loud and fucking unnecessary. Did you hear that?
Yes.
That was ridiculous. My windows are not up. I just want that to be known. Like, my windows aren't up. That was ridiculous. Anyway, but you you know and you've seen it. They say history repeats itself, right? And you've already seen so many different examples of it. Rather it directly happens to you or it directly happens to another group of people. And then when you realize what's going on and how it happened and what is it's rooted in, and you realize that it's literally the same situation as something else that's happened in the past, just different groups of people. That's it. Let's say same shit, different day. It's the same thing. And you've learned what it looked like. You learned how to identify it, but then it becomes so commonplace. And you so conditioned to believe that it's normal that people are like, oh no, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's been like that. It wasn't supposed to be like that the whole time. What are you talking about?
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So you're quietly sitting there watching your entire like country and empire collapse from underneath you.
Yeah.
You are gradually seeing the things that you were told you had the right to do. One motherfucker can come in and be like, no, you can't. And then be like, I dare you do it. And I dare you do it there. Oh, you gonna let them do it there? I'm gonna take your money from you. And what happened? They folded.
Like a deck of cards.
And you know, I get not everybody built to walk out there in them streets. I get that. There's roles for everybody in a in this type of situation. If you're sitting and you're being idle and doing nothing at all, if you're not having the conversations with your friends, if you're not doing the research for yourself, if you are just sitting idly by, like this does not affect you, you are a part of the problem. In the past month, 2 months, right? I have literally seen at least three governments crumble to the ground. And not by the government itself, by the people.
So the question is, what's taking it so long to happen over here?
Because our fucking people here believe that their asses is too privileged to get out there and fight for their shit. It's good to talk about it. It's real good to talk about it, right? But let's be real. You was it Peru? Was it Peru that happened? I believe. I think it was Peru. I know one of them was France, and I want to say Nepal. It's the other one. The 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 Gen Xers, the Gen Zers, I believe. Like these new adults, they like brand spanking new adults. One country said we want to take your social media away, and they said fuck no you not and burnt the whole shit down. The entire listen to what I'm telling you. They blocked social media. And them young adults went out in them streets and said, no, the fuck you not. And burned their whole shit down. The parliament, the fucking courts, the houses they lived in, burned the whole shit down. And then want to know what they did after that? Got on Discord.
Oh shit.
Got on Discord and voted in who they wanted to be in charge. And then officiated it. I am pretty sure that there was nothing written in no law book saying that that could happen. Who gives a fuck? They did what needed to be done. When you realize that corruption, the social media shit was like the straw that broke the camel's back. That was it. And it don't matter what the breaking point is, but at some point there's gonna have to be a breaking point. And it's either y'all gonna do something about it, or we are going to do something about it, or we become prisoners to our own privilege.
Interesting. You really just gave me a whole lot the last hour.
I just be wanting everybody to be aware. I be hating to change the tone of shit, but it's like
Some shit needs to be said.
some shit need to be said. Like if you follow the money, it be the names that you don't know. But you only gotta get one. You only gotta get one name. And I promise you, that shit will open up everything for you. And you can go even deeper if you want to. You it can't be handed to you. I can open the door for you, right? You gotta walk in. You gotta pick up the book and you gotta continue reading. I'm not saying that every ounce of information that I have is 100% correct. But this is what I found based off of the research that I've done so far. And I am almost positive that there's probably far more people in other countries, like companies, countries, and so on, that is deeply invested in all of the shit that's going on with us right now. That we have no clue because we don't want to lose TikTok. Remember when I told you uh maybe about 3, 4 weeks ago when all of the tech CEOs went and had that little sit down with Trump?
I remember it well.
Right. The only one that was not there was Elon Musk.
Right, because he was
And
kicked out of the cool kids table.
he wasn't kicked out of the cool kids table. He realized that the motherfuckers wasn't the cool kids. That's what that was.
Oh,
Imagine you being put in a position where you have access to like everything. Everything. In addition to probably being able to access things that people probably didn't know that you could access it because not everybody is a tech genius. Regardless of how you might feel about him personally, we are not going to discredit the fact that his autistic ass is smart as fuck. That is the reason why he is one of the richest people in the world. He puts rockets, puts metal in space and brings it the fuck back where he took it all from. Come on now. Not just some platform that you can type on. It's a different level of knowledge and technology that comes with it. That shit is rocket science. Literally.
literally.
Literally. You feel me? But then they also didn't talk to you about how Netanyahu invited a bunch of different influences to Israel to sit down and talk to them about the initiative that they wanted to put out there and changing the perspective or the perception of Israel. And he said he's not against talking to Elon Musk. It's like same, but different. Trump ego won't allow him to look past his personal gain. Netanyahu, on the other hand, is able to look at it from a broader scale, from a worldly view of what it is that he ultimately wants to achieve. And he also knows the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, and then you want us to trust them. You want us to believe that this isn't what it is. But y'all agreed to a ceasefire, which this orange ruffy ass man jumped on a plane and traveled over there to celebrate and make it official. And then not even 48 hours after this so-called ceasefire for peace, they broke it again. They killed more journalists. But how dare TikTok show us dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby, dead Gaza baby. It's easy to live your life when you ain't gotta acknowledge or recognize the turmoils and horrors that other people are living in. It's easy to ignore it until it come knocking on your door.
Absolutely.
And then it's becoming hard to really trust who your real advocates are. Who are the ones that's really fighting for the benefit of the people over the benefit of themselves. And that's why a lot of people get disappointed because y'all get caught up in the idea of what somebody told you to keep you, flocking to their content or raising their numbers up. Or, it feel good when people on your side. But you can only fake that shit but for so long. Your digital footprint is a motherfucker. I'm just saying.
You can't get rid of that shit even if you tried.
Nope.
Woo.
So I'm gonna leave this political shit alone real quick. And I'm gonna talk about one last thing. Cause this disappoints me also. But again, is once again, why should it? So are you are you familiar with, I think we talked about them before, but the YouTube channel Soft White Underbelly?
Vaguely, I remember.
Okay, so Soft White Underbelly is it's a YouTube channel that's ran by a photographer named Mark. I don't know if it's Lasha or Latia or it's spelled LH. It spells like Latia, but we're just gonna call him Mark. Okay. Um, Most of his videos are like done in black and white. And he sits down and interviews people who are pretty much living in the underbelly of America. It's like raw, unfiltered um interviews. Um, One of his first, like, I want to say viral, or when he became real popular, was when um he did a series with the Whitaker family. Do you know who the Whitaker family are?
No.
Okay. So the Whitaker family are a family of inbreds that live in West Virginia. And recently the photographer Mark, he's been under a little bit of controversy. Um and I want to know how you feel about this, right? Because I'm kind of on the fence about this topic, okay? So, just to give a little background, the the intent of Soft White Underbelly is to highlight the human condition. He's basically faced a lot of criticism because people believe that he's using these people's stories as a means to exploit them, and they're vulnerable. And he's doing it for views, without giving like adequate safeguards to protect the people, or even like giving them any type of resources that may like help them get out of their situation, or help get by. And please don't say, well, a person can only get help when they want help. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. What I'm saying is that there has to also be an offer. You know what I mean? In order for somebody to say, "No, I don't want the help," there are no resources that seems to be put in place to even give these people an opportunity for a change. So back in July 4th, 2020, he uploaded a video called "The Inbred Family, the Whitakers." It featured an incest family due to generations, and I mean generations, of intermarriage and inbreeding. It shows the family dynamic between three siblings, their extended relatives, all living in this dilapidated home. They didn't have utilities like um no electricity, no phone or anything of that nature, and they didn't have indoor plumbing. A lot of them have intellectual disabilities, speech impediments. Some of them are nonverbal. Some of them have some autistic traits, very limited vocabulary. They also have like visible effects like facial deformities, mobility issues, and cognitive delays. He visited them multiple times. He donated money to them initially and like different goods, food, stuff like that, but also did a GoFundMe where he had raised like over $100,000 with the intent to help basically repair their home. Um Give them indoor plumbing, shit like that. Um but I believe so far he has done at least two or three updates. They are still living in the same conditions. Um, a lot of people say that it looks like he's promoting what they call poverty porn.
What?
So
They just be coming up with anything.
did listen, I get it.
All willy nilly.
I get it. So it's kind of like another category. You know how like they call it like food porn,
Yes,
shit like that.
yes.
Okay. So it's almost like he gets off on interviewing people that when I tell you some of these stories are rough, very hard to listen to, or get through or even see. Okay. Um, the inbred family situation, like it took off because he was one of the only people, like they knew that this family existed. Again, they've been around for a very, very long time, but they also were isolated. So they didn't really have much human contact outside of themselves. So the fact that not only that he was able to interview them, but also be able to get them to get on camera, like it was a big thing, right? Then then we get to Nova. So December 2023, there was an episode that he uploaded that featured a 13-year-old girl named Nova. She was from South Central LA. She was a runaway that also became involved in prostitution. She was being controlled by her boyfriend, who was also her pimp. In the initial interview that he uploaded, she shared like details of her life being a runaway, being abused, being a sex worker, like fighting for survival. Um, but the problem that came with this video was, as I stated, she was 13. Her face was not blurred out at all. Um, in addition to her wearing this shirt that exposed her nipples, that was not blurted out either. Um, he tried to say that he didn't notice it. I call bullshit. But um, eventually there was like a call to get the video taken down. It took a while, but it did eventually get taken down. Then there was a second episode. A year later, Nova's now 14. He brings her back. She continues to talk about her trauma. But then he also does a separate video with Nova's mother. Her mother basically discussed experiencing a similar cycle as her daughter, trauma from when she was young, but she also spoke about her daughter more in a sense of her being competition rather than that's her daughter. She also, I don't know if you remember, um, like when the Diddy's lawsuit first, like details first started to come out and they started to talk about the Diddy parties. She claimed that she used to attend the Diddy party. So her mother kind of went viral more so for talking about that rather than what the actual purpose of the interview was, which was basically the mother daughter dynamic between them two. Um, there was backlash from that again, and Nova's mother didn't like it, so she demanded that Nova's video be taken down. It's still up. Like, as of to my knowledge today, that video is still up. Um, and then July of this year, they came back. But this time they came back together. Nova is 15. She has a child now.
Oh.
Yeah. Um, and they just discuss the complication between them two, the strained relationship, um, how Nova had ran away again, and ended up getting caught up in this sex trafficking sting that happened in LA some time ago. And that was the only way that she was able to get her daughter back, even though she claimed she was looking for her. But like she had got sex trafficked. And not much seemed to have changed as far as the lifestyle. But there's this issue that Nova talks about in a sense of the attention that's come from her doing these interviews and how it kind of is like stopping her from wanting to go outside or really do too much of anything now. Not, and it's not positive attention. So that's why people criticized Mark, because you not only exposed her face as her being a minor, but then you also showed the various locations that she's in. So they feel like at least if you would have like blurred her out, even though you gave her you didn't use her real name, you put it you put it in a position for people to be able to find her. And a lot of people believe that that may be the reason why she was able to um, get caught up in a sex traffic situation. He has carried like this very hands off approach by saying that he's just a cameraman that amplifies trauma, but it also leads to a lot of public shaming, and it just downplays a lot of the the effects or the aftermath of what he shows. Um, so when they talk about it being poverty porn, he doesn't really set it up for support. He doesn't tell the stories with the intent of hoping or helping find a solution, or just like putting in certain measures to protect people well-being, especially when you're dealing with like sex workers, drug addicts, homeless, just people who are in compromising positions all the way around them. And while you're upgrading your cameras and you're traveling and you're monetizing these things and you're getting this recognition and you're bringing some of them back for multiple episodes, you seem to be benefiting off of the backs of these people's story while they're still struggling. This is the America that we live in. We live in a place where people prefer to watch than help, or prefer to capitalize off of the struggles and the evils that's out there. And while it can be very eye opening, because it does give you a very raw sense of reality, it 100% does. Um, you can't help but walk away when an episode is over, wondering, damn, are they okay? And some of them have passed away over the years. He's even like been thrown in some legal issues. Um, Another person, her name was Amanda Rabb, I'm sorry, where she spoke about abuse and addiction. And she was placed under a conservatorship um, due to her vulnerability. And her conservatorship is similar to like what Britney Spears was under. And they are alleging like there was some type of misconduct, including like providing misinformation, okay, regarding, her well-being, but also like aligning with her abusive father, which kind of put her in the conservatorship issue.
I feel like we should do a part 2 to this.
Okay.
So we're gonna put a pin in that.
Yeah,
And
I'll pull up some clips of some of the interviews so you can get like just a idea of what it's like. And yeah, we'll talk about it some more.
Okay. In the meantime, between time, we're gonna get up out of here, Mr. Fox.
And this is the Abstract Sagittarius. Keep your head on the swivel.
Ooh, we are the usual suspects.
And we out.
Fendi, like the bag. This is the Eye of the